This week on Supercars Talk, the category heads overseas again for racing on the Apple Isle. The big news this week is that TCR has got three confirmed entries for the season this year. I don't actually know what they are, but I was reading an article in the last week or so, and they said they'd finally confirmed a third entry for the season this year. No wonder they've cancelled the first couple of rounds, if that's the big turnout that they've got. I do expect there to be some to come out of the woodwork before the season starts, three. That's three. We have Brad Jones Racing has more cars in Supercars than they have entered for the whole season. Anyway, the big news this week, or the actual big news this week, Ford driver Brodie Kostecki complains that the Chevrolets have more power. It's not a big surprise there. This has been happening forever. Everybody always complaining that if you've watched Formula One for years, there was a period recently where Lewis Hamilton had the absolute best car for 8 years straight. He won 6 championships, but for 8 years, he had undoubtedly the best car. And through that whole period, many of his fans will convince you that the Ferrari was better during this season and the Red Bull was better here and all that. The Mercedes was the best. You are always going to say that someone else has an advantage when your car is miles in front. Even the McLarens this year talking up how good everybody else is while they are the class of the field. Of course, Brodie is going to say that the Chev has an advantage now regardless, but people are going to stick to that and, the Chev has it. I mean, maybe it does. But, to base anything like that off what Brodie is saying is absolute, utter garbage. Anyway, speaking of the great Brodie Kostecki, he is actually genuinely one of my favourite drivers. I love watching Brodie race. In the Drivers Only podcast thing, he brought up a brilliant solution for the wheels. This is sometimes, I think, certain things asking the drivers absolutely ridiculous. And then certain things asking the fans absolutely, and certain things asking team managers absolutely ridiculous. But something like this, sometimes the drivers have really good ideas. They know what they're talking about. This is not normally one probably for the drivers, brilliant idea from Brodie. Regarding the wheels, how about we use new non-crashy or interlocky wheels for the races, and then the old stock of the clicky wheels, we'll use them in practice and qualifying and things like that. But in the races, you have to use the old wheels, you have to use the new wheels while practice and qualifying and that. You use the old wheels because you're not likely to have your clicky situations during a practice session while in the race you do. That then gives teams a chance to run out the older wheels. Now, granted, qualifying, you probably will have to use the old ones and then switch over to the newer ones as stocks are running low, and then practice you gradually filter out the older wheels until everyone's just running new ones. But that does then it solves the problem of teams just throwing out all the inventory straight away. They do get to run both of them, and it does make it fair because you won't have a situation where maybe the new wheels are a bit quicker or the old wheels a little bit, depending on weights and stuff. In the race, everyone has the same thing, and really, yes, you're not exactly practicing with what you're racing with, but at the moment you're practicing on crap tyres that have no relevance to what you're going to end up racing with anyway. So, if you have your crap tyres on for practice on the old wheels, and then you go off to qualify and race with the newer wheels and the new tyres, so it all works out. Anyway, there is some racing on this weekend, and the Super 2 boys will be out there as well. Really exciting to see them race on this track. I think it's going to produce some great racing. Now, because of everything that's been going on in my life at the moment, I didn't have a lot of time to prepare getting ready, but we do have a one, maybe two interviews with a couple of the Super 2 boys. So here they are. And once again, we got Brad Vaughn on the show. It feels like it's been a long time since we had a chat. What's been happening over the break?
It's been an eternity since we last raced, it feels. But I've been keeping myself. Yeah, I'm always busy at the racetrack. We had the Australian Wingless Sprint Championship for Speedway. Raced a saloon car at Calder Park, and then I do a lot of work at the Bend Motorsport Park doing coaching there. So plenty of track time still, but yeah, it's been a while since the last time I sat in that Super 2 car.
It wasn't too bad a round at Sydney Motorsport Park in the end. Race 1 was a bit disappointing, but race 2, you all of a sudden just speed from nowhere.
It's probably obviously very disappointing Saturday. The way we started it, and we sort of know what those problems are now, and we'll make sure that doesn't happen again. But yeah, Sunday was great. It was their first, I believe, it was their first race podium since Macaulay Jones in 2017 or 18.
Yep.
I know Lockie Dalton had a podium, but I think that was a round podium. So that's a cool stat, right? So it's good to get that car up the front and show that. It doesn't matter if I'm in a Tickford car or a BJR car or whatever, that we can be at the front. So roll that on the Tassie.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to Tassie. Have you raced there before?
No, I've never been there at all. So it'll be a new challenge.
What are you looking forward to most down there?
It looks pretty wild.
Yeah.
Looking at some of the onboard and doing some sim that, there's, even though it's simple, you get that rest down the back straight. There's really only 3 corners, which makes the lap times really close, and you've got to be like perfect to be on the right side of the 10th. So that'd be good. We've got a top 5 shootout as well for Super 2. So that'll be interesting. Another element that none of us have really come across before. So if I can lock into that, that'd be good as well.
So you expecting to be in both the shootouts, or?
I think there's only one shootout, which is on Sunday.
Okay.
But that's definitely the plan. Like we go to every race meeting, particularly for me in my 3rd year now, is to win races and go for the championship. So that's obviously the expectation.
And I imagine the lap 1 at the hairpin, you definitely want to go to be in that front bunch rather than the mid pack.
Yeah, they've been showing some highlights on the socials with Super 2 when they were there last, quite a while ago, and it looks like Carnage City. So, you always got to stay out of that, right? If Super 2's typically a lot of carnage as it is, we all know that. So you go to a racetrack where it produces carnage naturally, you have to be aware of that. So as long as your plan A is to be at front and not have to worry about that.
Yeah. There wouldn't be a lot of data from the last time the guys were there either, would there?
No, the Super 2 data is irrelevant because that's the era before. That's the VF, would have been VF and FG that would have raced back then. We got obviously the data from when that generation of car was there last in main game.
Yep.
So we can look into that. But
they wouldn't have been on the hard tyre, would
never. No, they weren't. I think they're on the super soft when they were there last. Yeah. So it doesn't completely correlate. It never does, but it's a starting point.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you over the weekend, and all the best.
No worries. Thanks, mate.
So once again, we've got Campbell Logan back on the show for a Symmons Plains preview. Looking forward to racing at your home track?
Mate, unbelievably excited. Like it's, first of all, it's the first time we've raced in 3 months. I know some of the guys I race against race in different categories, which they're, very fortunate to do so. But for me, I don't quite get I haven't been able to secure an opportunity like that. So just to go racing again is pretty cool, but to do it at home, it's still, I got to drive 2.5 hours because I'm from Hobart, but it's pretty special feeling.
It's a nice short commute compared to the others, though.
Yeah, well, usually, you're sitting in an airport, you got to fly Hobart to Melbourne to then go somewhere, and you're sitting in airports all the time. So, yeah, it's nice I get to take my own car, like I have a car for the week. It's kind of cool.
So what have you been doing over the break?
Been doing lots of different things, actually. It's been interestingly busy. I've picked up a job. I'm not sure if we've spoken about it or not, but I'm working for a team in Toyota 86 Scholarship Series as a driver coach. So going to their race meetings and their test days has kept me really busy. And I've been doing pre-briefs and debriefs for them as well. So that's been a pretty cool opportunity to start dabbling in that kind of space. Been even getting a little bit of driver coaching myself, which has been really cool just to keep me sharp in between. So going up to Robbo on the pace at Queensland Raceway, he taught me how to drive a manual car full stop. So it's been really good to stay sharp with him. And then just a lot of prep for this round. We had a test day a month ago, which was really good. And just been doing a lot of sim stuff and going through data and footage ahead of this round, and a lot of old race footage as well, just to understand. I've done a lot of racing miles at Symmons Plains, albeit in a Hyundai Excel. So Super 2 is a little bit different. Racing a supercar is pretty different around there. So just trying to take what I know and see if I can apply it to racing in Super 2 ahead of the round.
What are you looking forward to most over the weekend?
I think just probably a pretty boring answer, but just getting on track. Like I just miss driving at the moment. So just looking forward to, and we've got nothing to lose. Sydney was a pretty terrible round. I'm much more confident in the package we've got for this weekend coming. So yeah, I'm just sort of excited to, have a crack and see where we end up and hopefully show everyone where we belong. But, I got a lot of friends and family and my local sponsors are coming out for the weekend. It'll be busy from that point of view. So that'll be something new. The team's helping me manage that, which is really cool. And I think that'll be something I will not forget after the weekend.
So you're going to impress them all and be in the shootout?
Well, that's the plan. I mean, us young guys, everyone watches it, right? The shootout, they're the coolest things. I reckon top 10 shootout Bathurst is one of the coolest things all year. So I know it's not Bathurst, it's Symmons Plains, but still to, if I can qualify in the top 5, which I have done before, to be able to have a chance in a shootout would be pretty cool. I'd then immediately be crapping my pants about trying to turn a hard tyre on around a cold Symmons Plains.
That is going to be fun to watch because I think it's going to take quite a few laps to get them up to temperature in qualifying.
Yeah, well, even speaking to some of the supercar guys, the main game guys, they struggled to turn the super soft tyre on there within a couple laps. So I don't know how we're going to go, but at the end of the day, everyone's in the same boat. So it's a nice challenge that we'll have for the weekend.
It'll be fun to watch, and definitely you'd be hoping to get in that top 5 because it's going to be pretty gnarly coming up to the hairpin on lap 1, I'd imagine.
Yeah, well, usually when I've gone to the hairpin, it's not too gnarly. XLs are not that wide compared to a supercar. So I think that'll be quite a big difference to me. Even just going out for practice, feeling how wide these cars are on such a narrow track. But yeah, I'd much rather be at the front going into the hairpin rather than in the pack. It would be a nightmare, especially if it rains. I've seen a few clips where it doesn't really go so well in the wet in the pack there.
I think the weather's looking good at the moment, but that's a long-term forecast, so it could always change.
Yeah, I don't trust long-term forecasts down here.
It's about the same as what it is in Melbourne. So
yeah, exactly.
We're definitely looking forward to seeing you over the weekend, and all the best for the weekend, and we'll catch up afterwards to chat about how well you went over the weekend.
Perfect. That sounds good to me. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me on again.
Now, a massive shout out to insert names here who joined me on such short notice. I really, really do appreciate it from you guys. And I'm going to try and tee up with all of the guys after the round to, catch up with what they've been doing and how they went over the weekend. Best of luck to all of the Super 2 guys that I have been chatting to so far this year. We really appreciate it around here. I know you guys out there appreciate it, and I just get blown away that I get to talk to real life race drivers. Anyway, there will be racing this weekend with the main game as well. The format will be the same as Taupo. Details up here. I suspect that the format will work even better at Symmons Plains, just with the nature of the track and the way it races and everything. My biggest thing, probably my takeaway from Taupo, I'd probably maybe not like the 2-part qualifying. I'd probably prefer it just to be the short and sharp 10-minute session rather than it being dragged out. But that also will probably work a little bit better at Tasmania, because that was one of the reasons that we did bring in that those kind of split sessions and things like that, or maybe even have like 10 minutes for Group 1 and 10 minutes for Group 2 or something like that. But these are all things that I'm sure, the new formats for this year, will work on them and improve them in the years to come. Last year, this was, of course, the round where Randall and the Triple Eight boys had a bit of fisticuffs out on track, and Randall went to apologise afterwards, and Mark Dutton pushed him out of the garage. It was so violent, the push. It looks as ridiculous now as what it did at the time. Probably actually it looks a bit more ridiculous now given time, and it being Tom Randall coming into the Triple Eight garage. If it was someone, like Brodie kind of charging in, you might be like, hey, just stop. Thomas Randall, he's a pussycat kind of thing. I wouldn't be stressing about him coming to, knock out a driver or something like that. He was clearly coming to apologise, but anyway, that's in the past now. Let's not talk about it anymore. Last year, Percat and Cam Waters were the ones who did the winning. Brown, Feeney, Mostert and Fullwood were the other guys on the podium. No one doing a double up. Mostert and Waters were the closest though. They both finished fourth in the races that they were on the podium. Weather this weekend is looking good so far. This is predicting a fair way out though, so things could change before then, but I don't think we're going to be affected by weather. The big questions for the weekend: what will Fullwood and Jones's liveries be for the weekend? Of course, Jones's will be some kind of Pizza Hut livery, but it will be different to what he's been running for the earlier rounds of the year by the sounds of things, and Fullwood is, with his rolling sponsorship, he will have something different on the car. At the time of recording, I haven't seen what either of them will look like. How many cars will be taken out at the hairpin this year? It's exciting, with the new racing rules. There could be some square ups, and I'm expecting a little bit of carnage at the hairpin, probably a few dive bombs and things like that. I think it's going to be very exciting. Will Triple Eight actually bounce back this weekend? Tickford was very strong here last year too, but as we have seen so far this year with new tyres and new formats and new racing rules, the playbook from previous years doesn't just carry over. In the Gen 2 era, it was very, very easy to just go, right, this is a Triple Eight track, they're going to turn up and dominate. We fully, after, they walked away with Taupo last year, fully expected them to come and do the same thing, and they haven't. So we can't just look at the form book there. Will we see DJR continue their rise up the field? Really, they're on the podium now. The next thing will be a win for Brodie. Will we see him take a win this weekend? Or even, Davison has been chewing away and looking better and better. And Matt Stone Racing, will they keep the momentum? They were very competitive here. Well, the previous 2 years with Gen 3, they've been quite competitive here. They did Nick Percat to the win last year. So will Cam Hill be in the mix again this weekend? So that's my preview for the weekend. My big prediction for the weekend is, I'm not going to name anyone, but I think we're going to see another, maybe not a first-time winner, but a new winner so far this year. We haven't had that many winners yet, but I think I'm going to go with someone a little left field, like, James Golding, Richie Stanaway, someone just a little bit left of field that hasn't been, right up the front, even like, Dave Reynolds to just come from nowhere this weekend. I think we're going to turn around next week and be talking about, whoa, that was a surprise that, he took that win over the weekend. We'll probably see, like a Triple Eight or whatever, kind of take the overall honours. But I think one race, we're just going to get a little bit of it. I've just got a feeling that there'll be a little bit of carnage and things like that, and someone will, maybe not a full Bradbury, but sneak through and they'll qualify really well and end up taking a win there. I'm not going to focus down and say he's going to be Bryce Fullwood. He ended up on the podium there last year. But anyway, down in the comments, let me know what your predictions are for the weekend, and enjoy the racing over the weekend. Till next time, I'm still Dave, and we'll catch you later.